Hello, beautiful soul, and welcome back. Today's episode is going to be all about connecting with the land, how and why to do this. I'm Jamie Ehrenberg with Idylwild Retreats, and I'm actually here filming at Idylwild Retreats today. And this is my journey of following my intuition and becoming my truest self. This episode is a long time coming, and I'm really excited to be on the land and being able to actually do some real demonstrations of how I connect with the land while I'm here. I believe that any of us that are stewarding land, and I do say steward because it is a fleeting thing. Our lives are minuscule compared to the amount of time that Earth has been around. And I believe that the best thing that we can do for the land that we work with, that we co-create with, that we tend to and it tends to us, is hopefully we're both better off because we've been in each other's presence, both the land and our human selves. And I have been somebody who's been able to energetically connect to land and trees for a long time. It is something that I started doing probably in my 20s when I spent a lot of time at my undergraduate college in nature and surrounded by nature. And I realized that while I was in this most open space of my younger years, that I was just tuned in a way that I wasn't after I moved back to a city and moved into the working world. That spaciousness that I had in my life then and that just time I had in nature all the time really impacted me, and it did a lot of things for me. It helped me to work through all sorts of pain and trauma. During that time I realized while I was mentally learning about the places, I was connecting with them, and lots of writing was coming out of me, and I realized, especially with trees, that I could energetically connect with them. I could touch them and feel their energy. When I came here, when my husband and I came here to Idylwild, I know in a previous video I talked about how we knew this was the place for us, and that the land was speaking to me and my soul was speaking to the land, and my human self is now integrated into all of that. And why I think this is important, the land and Pachamama, because I actually think that they're different, just has so much to teach us. It's a really spiritual experience. And I remember the first time that I had really heard this land talk to me in a verbal sort of a way. I've shared in earlier episodes, I think in episode 2, how to hear your intuition, and I'll link that below in case you haven't seen it yet. Hearing is one of the ways that I intuit. That's part of my intuition and my intuitive gifts. And I was walking around the land on a morning hike with the dogs like I normally do, and there was a call to me that said, every time you look at something, you're exchanging energy with it. So look everywhere here. You're gifting it and it's gifting you back. And I was like, wow, that is basic level of science, but it's also just this really powerful concept of everything we're interacting with, we're exchanging with, and I love that. I wanted to, I'm realizing I have a stone in my hand from the land. So we have limonite here on the property, and it's something that retreat participants get a piece of. It also has quite a storied past as well. It was mined for the Civil War, literally, on this property and adjacent properties to make cannons. It's really heavy. It is iron-like. It's in the iron family, but it isn't actually iron. But it is so grounding, and it has such, it is heavy, so that's one thing. But it really just has this way of rooting you down. Like I can feel, even in my heart, and I don't know if you feel that, but in my heart I can feel the grounding that this rock and this land provide to me and are providing to me. With this listening and this exchange and how we do it, there's a lot of different ways to do it. So I talked a little bit about why. There's really can be profound and simple messages that the land has for us, but also there is this piece of real information that it might be wanting to tell you. So not too far behind me, there is a grandmother beech tree that actually does ask me to do things. It asks me to channel it, and I do channel Pachamama in general, which I feel like is the earth collectively and not necessarily just the land that we're standing on. But I channel the land and really listen to what it has to ask me and what it wants from me. I believe that our land, even if we're not channeling it, it can tell us that. So to connect up with the land that we're on, remember, you really want to do this using the gifts and the intuition style that's the easiest for you, or the more natural or the intuitive for you. So if you don't already hear, if you don't already connect with land, with trees, leaning into your hearing, your knowing, your feeling, or your sight in this process. I would definitely recommend doing that. There are people who go on shamanic walks or walk around with those kind of eyes open in what does the land have to tell me? And it is a visual way of communicating, but that's not how we all take in this information. So if that is something that, if sight is your strongest intuitive tool, then that really might be what you do. But for me, feeling and hearing are my two strongest tools. And so just being able to physically root on the ground and my feet really anchored into the land, in this case, having something from the land even in my hand, is a way of just right away connecting in and grounding into the land. And then taking some moments to close your eyes or soften your gaze and allow yourself to just drop in and connect with intention. Noticing your breath, noticing the sounds that you hear around you. With that intention, I am here to connect with the land and see what you feel. What do you hear? What do you see after you set that intention and really ground in? What do you hear? What do you feel? What do you know? After that, one of the things that I have noticed with all the embodiment work that I do is that there are certain ways that, depending on what I'm trying to do, if I'm trying to connect very specifically with a tree, like my grandmother beech tree, I try to actually get my root connected to her. So I am leaning my back against her, and my whole spine is connected to hers, or I'm sitting on the ground and making sure that my root is really connected. That to me is really how I connect in the best if I'm trying to get real messages. But you'll have to see what's right for you. Standing could be enough. Sitting might be really supportive for you. That's a little bit of a tricky one because the tree, is at an angle, and it's not like you can just sit against it, where if you're sitting on the ground, you can just sit on the ground and connect your root to the ground. And then just practice. I've shared earlier, it's like practicing. And what are you sensing? What are you feeling? There's going to be layers for you that are going to need to be interpreted, very likely. Do you feel sensations moving through your body? Are you seeing things like a new bird that you might not normally see, or a new sound you might not normally see? And what does that mean to you? You'll have to figure some of those things out if it's not the knowing. Interestingly, I don't find that the knowing is as strong for me in day-to-day communication with the land. It certainly was when, my husband actually, on this hill that I'm on right now, my husband and I, when we found this property, we walked actually right along where we are right now. And he's a knower, I'm a knower. We both just we knew that this was our land. There's some of those things that the land talking to us might be a knowing, but I feel like there's a little bit more nuance that you get from the other senses. But again, this is all about you practicing, trusting, experimenting with those ways that work the best for you. It's just that connecting with the intention and asking, is there anything you want me to know? It's actually what I ask a lot. When I do my morning rituals and my morning prayers, I connect with an expanded spirit team, and one of those is Pachamama, which, if you don't want to know what Pachamama is, it's Spanish for Mother Earth. And with all the shamanic work that I have done and practices I've listened to, it's just what ends up coming out easier for me, which is really curious because I say Father Sky. I don't use any other term. I use Pachamama and Father Sky. Hearing what Pachamama, your land, the Mother Earth, has to say to you. I feel like there's the potential to get so deep in those conversations. I'm going to have another episode where I talk about when and how she really started talking to me and what it really means to be a sacred steward of the land. So that'll be the next episode that I record while I'm here. So that'll be up next. And that's a little bit different. Yesterday, I was attempting to connect in to channel with the land. I tend to channel on 3 different ways. I channel Mother Earth as a whole. I channel Source, and what's being told to me is a galactic light council. And so I am trying to connect, I'm here on this land that I've been in relationship with for so long now, really trying to connect up with it. And I sat here actually just about where I am now. I have a sacred circle right behind me. I sat in here and it was like, oh no, this isn't time yet to channel. You need to just connect in. And so what I did is I sat with the land. I sat with the land and let myself feel what that felt like differently, how in a really embodied sense, like all the sensations, how the energy was moving, where the energy was moving, what I was overall feeling, letting that all come through my body. And it was really a new experience, and I think that this is part of all of the shift that's happening with us in our consciousness, also with the planet as it's evolving and it's given its life back, as we're supporting its energy, which again I'll talk about in the next episode. The descriptors I had yesterday for this session with sitting with the land were grounded, almost heavy, this thrumming energy, so not the high level that I get from above. It was so peaceful, so relaxing. It was almost like being in like a theta wave state. It was just so beautiful and enveloping. That I feel like is really important to be aware of too. If the energy shifts, because we're going to feel different ways in different places, things do shift, and knowing who and what you're connecting to is important. And so like when I said, just feeling what it feels like after you ground in whatever way that is, and you're seated or standing in the way that makes sense to you, you're holding something from the land, if you can do that, how does that feel? And spending the time to learn what that feels like to you. So you both not only get familiar in a non-mental sort of a way, but you also start to notice when there's difference. And if something's shifting, truly something has shifted since I was here 3 months ago. Something has shifted and my channeling has really opened up, for sure. It's something more than that. It feels like this planetary shift is palpable now. Kind of amazing. And I appreciate this video so much for me to even be able to finish processing that, because it was wild, feels like something else. It doesn't feel like the right descriptor, but it was so powerful yesterday and so different. Last thing I want to name is the message, part of what I'm being asked to do and how I'm being asked to serve by Galactic Light Council. It's to help raise the frequency of the planet, and that is humans as well as the land. The land has a lot that it wants to tell us. It is asking things of us for sure. It wants a reciprocal relationship with us. It wants space, to be able to be. And I'm going to leave it there because it's actually a beautiful tee up for next week's episode of this deeper connection with the land and what it wants from us right now. Thank you so much for being here. If you like the episode, please do give it a like and hit subscribe if you're brand new to the channel. And if you believe that this will serve to anyone else that you know, thank you, thank you, thank you for sharing. And I look forward to being with you again very soon. Lots of love. Hello, beautiful. If this video made you interested and curious about actually being on the land yourself, the winter and spring 2026 retreats are up and available for you to look at. So if you click the link below, the first link that'll be there will be the retreat webpage, and I'd love for you to check it out if something spoke to you from this episode. Sending you a lot of love, and may I see you there if that is the best thing for you.